You really think you understand business at my level? The courtroom cameras captured the exact moment a wealthy man's wife made a mistake she would never recover from. Victoria Ashford Sterling, covered in diamonds and dressed in high-end designer fashion, stood confidently before Judge Judy and spoke the very words that would shatter her entire case. Your Honor, you don't understand how business works at my level. The silence that followed was thick, heavy enough to make the entire courtroom feel frozen in time. But what Victoria didn't realize, what she failed to consider even for a second, was that Judge Judy had already done her homework. Every document, every record, every past complaint, already reviewed, already understood, already waiting. What unfolded over the next 15 minutes would go on to become one of the most talked about and replayed moments in courtroom television history. Millions of people would watch it, share it, and remember it. Not just because it was dramatic, but because it was a perfect example of what happens when arrogance collides with undeniable truth. This wasn't just a case about unpaid wages. This was a moment where wealth met wisdom, where confidence turned into collapse, and where one woman learned, in the hardest possible way, that underestimating the wrong person can cost everything. And it all began on what seemed like a completely ordinary Tuesday morning. The case was called The State vs. Victoria Ashford Sterling. At first glance, nothing about it seemed unusual. A housekeeper, Emma Rodriguez, age 52, was suing for $8,500 in unpaid wages. A standard. A routine matter, but the moment Victoria entered the courtroom it became clear, this would be anything but routine. She walked in like she owned the building, a perfectly tailored Chanel suit wrapped around her, worth more than what many people earned in months. In her hand, a pristine Hermes handbag, placed deliberately on the table, as if it were a symbol of her status. Diamonds reflected the courtroom lights, earrings, bracelet, rings. Each one a statement. Everything about her presence said the same thing. Power, privilege, and absolute certainty that she was above this situation. She glanced at her phone as she walked, letting out an audible sigh as if this entire process was an inconvenience. When the bailiff instructed her to silence her phone, she rolled her eyes and slowly tucked it away, making sure everyone noticed her annoyance, her posture, her expression, her tone. It all communicated one clear belief: she didn't think she belonged there. She thought she was above everyone in that room. Across from her stood Emma Rodriguez, and the contrast couldn't have been sharper. Emma wore a simple uniform. Black pants, a plain white blouse, nothing flashy, nothing expensive, just honest clothing that reflected her work. In her hands, she held a worn binder, filled with documents, photographs, and printed conversations. Her fingers trembled slightly, but not from fear. From anticipation, from the weight of finally being heard. Emma had spent 30 years cleaning homes. She came to this country in 1995, worked tirelessly, sometimes juggling multiple jobs, saving every dollar she could to support her family and send her daughter to college. She wasn't afraid of hard work. She wasn't afraid of wealthy people. But she was tired of being invisible. Judge Judy entered the courtroom, and everyone rose. At 78, she carried decades of experience behind her. She had presided over thousands of cases, seen every kind of lie, every kind of excuse, every attempt to manipulate the system. And there was one thing she was known for above all else. She didn't miss anything. What Victoria didn't know was that Judge Judy had already prepared. The thick manila folder sitting on her bench wasn't just paperwork, it was the truth, waiting to be revealed. Judge Judy adjusted her glasses and looked at both women. Mrs. Ashford Sterling, she began calmly, Ms. Rodriguez claims she worked for you for 2 years and that you owe her $8,500 in unpaid wages. Is that correct? Victoria didn't hesitate. She waved her hand dismissively, her diamond bracelet catching the light. Your Honor, I manage multiple properties and staff. I can't possibly remember every individual who has worked in my home. Judge Judy slowly removed her glasses, a subtle but unmistakable signal. So you're saying she did work for you? For a brief moment Victoria hesitated, then she corrected herself. I'm saying people come and go. But this woman, she gestured vaguely toward Emma without even looking at her. I don't recognize her at all. Judge Judy turned to Emma. Ms. Rodriguez, what evidence do you have? Emma opened her binder carefully, her movements steady and practiced. Your Honor, I have photographs of myself working inside her home. I have text messages with detailed instructions. I have my work schedule, and I have a witness who saw me there regularly. The evidence was handed over, photos. Clear, time-stamped, showed Emma working in a luxury home. The kitchen, the library, the bedroom. Victoria let out a quiet laugh, cold and dismissive. These could be taken anywhere. Judge Judy's eyes locked onto her. I've been practicing law longer than you've been alive, try me. Emma continued, presenting text messages, dozens of them, tailed instructions, specific requests, clear communication from an employer to an employee. Judge Judy reviewed them carefully. These messages span 2 years, she said. And you're telling me you don't remember her? Victoria shifted slightly, but her tone remained firm. I'm a busy woman. These messages could have been sent by assistants. Emma then presented a check. 1 payment, she said. After that, everything was cash. Judge Judy examined it closely. It was real. Victoria leaned forward, confident again. With all due respect, Your Honor, you don't understand high-level financial practices. Cash payments are common. The courtroom fell silent. Judge Judy slowly removed her glasses again. So you're admitting to paying her off the books? Victoria froze just for a second, then tried to recover. I'm saying she wasn't a consistent employee. And yet, Judge Judy replied calmly, you expect me to ignore the evidence and believe your version. Victoria straightened herself. This is her word against mine. Judge Judy leaned back slightly. No, this is evidence against arrogance. Then she asked a simple question. Mrs. Ashford Sterling, what research did you do about me before coming here? Victoria blinked, confused. This is small claims court. Judge Judy's lips curved into a faint smile. That was your first mistake, and then everything changed. Judge Judy reached beneath her bench and pulled out a thick manila folder. She placed it down slowly. The sound echoed louder than expected. Do you know what this is? Victoria shook her head. No, these are public records. Judge Judy said. Records I reviewed before you walked into my courtroom. For the first time, Victoria's confidence cracked. Judge Judy opened the folder. Let's start with 2021. A woman named Lucia Santos filed a wage claim against you. Victoria's hand moved nervously. That was resolved. Yes, Judge Judy replied. After you paid her $11,000. The findings state you paid her cash, then stopped paying entirely. Another document, 2019. Carmen Gonzalez, same pattern. Victoria's face drained of color. These were misunderstandings. Your husband's attorneys handled them? Judge Judy interrupted sharply. I thought you managed everything. Victoria said nothing. Judge Judy pulled out another file. 6 months ago. Rosa Martinez, Victoria whispered. That's unrelated. Judge Judy's voice rose. She's Miss Rodriguez's cousin. She warned her about you. The courtroom was completely silent now. Judge Judy leaned forward, her voice controlled but cutting. I see a pattern. You hire vulnerable women, pay them in cash, then stop paying. Most don't fight back. The ones you settle quietly. Victoria began to cry. I can explain. Explain what? Judge Judy snapped. That you exploit people? Victoria's voice broke. They wanted cash. Judge Judy's expression hardened. Now you blame them. Emma sat quietly, tears falling. But these were different. These were tears of validation. Judge Judy closed the folder. You walked into this courtroom thinking you were untouchable, she said. You assumed I wouldn't check. You assumed she couldn't prove her case. She paused. You were wrong. Victoria was now openly sobbing. I made a mistake. No, Judge Judy said coldly. You made a choice. Desperate, Victoria tried one last move. I'll pay her. Double. Triple. Judge Judy let out a sharp laugh. Now you want to settle, after calling her a liar? Emma stood a little taller. I don't want more, she said. I just want what I earned. Judge Judy nodded. Mrs. Ashford Sterling, I find in favor of Ms. Rodriguez. She paused for effect 8,000 Fausers in unpaid wages, and an additional $8,500 in punitive damages. Total, 17,000. Gasps filled the room. I am also referring this matter to the IRS and the Department of Labor for further investigation. Victoria collapsed into her chair. Emma stood strong, tears in her eyes, but dignity intact. Judge Judy looked at her. You did everything right. You brought evidence. You told the truth. Thank you. Judge Judy replied calmly. I didn't believe you because of emotion. I believed you because of proof. Then she turned to Victoria one final time. You had every advantage in life, and you used it to take advantage of others. She paused. That's not a mistake, that's character. Her voice turned final. Get out of my courtroom. Victoria stumbled out, her composure shattered. Emma walked out with her head high, and within hours, the footage spread across the world. Millions watched, millions shared, because in the end, one truth stood above everything else. Evidence will always defeat arrogance. Truth will always overcome lies. And underestimating the wrong person can cost you everything.